Hey there, it's Kristen, and I just wanted to let you know I'll be teaching Deconstructing the I Ching. It is an online class through Kyla Givehand's Life Alchemy Academy, and it's coming up really soon. So I thought I would jump on here and do a quick video for you and just tell you a little bit about it. And I'm also going to be doing a couple of readings that were submitted from some of the students that are already in the classroom. So first of all, what we're going to be doing is a live 4-hour class. And this is next Friday, October 27th from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you can attend the live session. There will be a replay available, and there's also going to be a 6-month discussion space. And so if you have questions, if you want to share readings for input, there will be a space for that. I am also including in the class my Trigram cards. These are cards that I made, and I use them to do the I Ching readings. I'm going to show you how to use them. It is a printable deck, which is available along with a guide. So in the lesson, in the live class, I'll be showing you how to read that, but the main portion of the class, I'll be showing you how to cast a hexagram. We're going to be using moving lines, and we're going to create a changed hexagram. And I'm just going to show you my process for reading. And really my process is based on about 25 years of experience and confusion and relearning and going back and doing research and doing my own personal research to see, just patterns and observations, and just looking at some other sources for information. And what deconstructing the I Ching is really about is taking the hexagram and breaking it down into its pieces, like the trigrams, and understanding the lines, understanding yin and yang and how they're used within the hexagram. So what I asked people for in terms of these readings, I wanted to show you kind of how I use the trigram cards, because really they can be used as a standalone as well, even if you don't want to do a whole hexagram. So I asked students to give me a question and 2 numbers. The first number relates to a trigram, the second number relates to moving lines. I'm not casting a hexagram here, but you'll kind of get a feel for what I do and how we can use some of this information, even if we're not casting an entire hexagram. And really the point of the class is for you to be able to read and understand your hexagrams that you create, even without a book or without a philosophical commentary. Okay? So the first question that I received was, when should I put my house on the market? And I received Earth. So the trigram Earth with moving line 3. First thing I like to do is just see how does the trigram reflect the question, or how does the question reflect the trigram that was picked. And so Earth, number 1, relates to home, the energy of home. I also find that whenever people are asking when will something happen, it's usually because it's taking a long time, or there's some slow process. The Earth card, the Earth trigram energy will show up. So I would say number 1, we can look at this a couple of ways. We can look at it based on linear time. The Earth trigram energy relates to the season of autumn, which is right now. So it could mean right now. But I get the sense that there's maybe a time period or some lull or some slowness here. So it may mean next autumn. But autumn would be a good time period. Now, there is an issue here around mother. So the Earth trigram relates to mother. This person has also chosen the 3rd moving line, which I associate with the belly or the womb. And so to me, there may be an issue here. I don't know where or how it might be showing up, but I would ask you, is there an issue related to mothering? The third moving line to me always shows up when people have to defend something or protect something, whenever there's kind of like a struggle somewhere where you feel like you have to protect or defend your position. I would just be saying, like, where's all that showing up? Because typically things aren't going to move until you resolve some of those things or you figure out how you want to address some of that. The earth energy can also be telling you when, in terms of like kind of being like earth, right? It's kind of like saying when you can be like earth, that's going to be the time when you should put your house on the market. And so let me just go through a couple of aspects of earth. So first of all, earth is telling you to get back to basics or to simplify. Earth is also telling you to follow the leader. So I don't know if how that might show up, like meaning is somebody else already selling their house? It's kind of like following someone. Earth doesn't initiate change. And that's why so often it feels like it takes so much time, because we're not really in charge of this process. There is some other outside input that has to kind of come in to get things moving. And so that might be showing up for you as well. Now, another thing about earth is we think about like the earth is the nurturer, caretaker personality. That might be showing up for you here. The thing about earth is it receives. Like it's that's its kind of role. And so one of the things that it's not really good at is self-nourishing. It knows how to feed everyone else, but it's really not as good at feeding itself. And so it could be you're ready, you should put the house on the market when you can nourish yourself, when you're ready to receive, when you're ready to manifest abundance. So just thinking about some of those things, hopefully it might help you. But if you're looking for a more linear time period, again, we're looking at the harvest season. And so that actually could reflect getting some work done, right? Could be because maybe you have to get your house ready to get it on the market. Maybe you have to do a lot of cleaning out, decluttering, something like that. So it suggests once you've finished that, once you've harvested, you've done all of the work, then you'll be ready. So those are just some things to keep in mind. The next question is, how can I prioritize my projects? And the question is also like projects that feel urgent. Creative projects, travel projects, decluttering, and study. So you received Mountain with moving line 4. Mountain is very proactive. Like Mountain wants to do some things, but Mountain is also still. Mountain really doesn't move, and it can represent, if it's representing, I always see it first as representing what's happening. So Mountain can show a block, something that stands in your way, a block or obstacle. So maybe not prioritizing is the block, that there's something blocking this. And it can also be like an internal block, something that you're just not sure which way to move. Mountain says, number one, I would read this as you can prioritize with many hands, because Mountain represents the body part hands. You also pick moving line 4, which to me is always about relationships. It's always about finding common ground. So to me, this suggests you might be able to find some people to help you with all of these projects, or prioritizing, decluttering, whatever it is that you need to do. You may think, no, I don't have anybody to help me. But whenever moving line 4 shows up, you do. You just have to ask in the right way. In terms of figuring out which project to start on first, Mountain says the one that you are resisting the most. It also says to me, if we're picking between creative, travel, study, because mountain is about study, meditation, contemplation, things like that. So just to give you some guidance, like I said, I think all the trigrams can be looked at as what your situation is and also looking at guidance as well. So the guidance of this card says to set limits, set boundaries. It says to preserve, don't change. So this is not a card about doing anything new. It's really about getting closure, closing chapters, whether that is, with you mentioned decluttering, kind of getting rid of things, releasing things, and just getting closure on things. The third question was, what kind of work would be the most fulfilling for me? And the card is water with the third line moving. So it's an interesting card to show up for this because I interpreted what kind of work would be most fulfilling for me as like a career kind of question, career job, but this might also be commenting on some personal work. This is a card that I use. This water energy to me relates to shadow work, diving deep into your unconscious, dealing with like confronting your fears, your uncertainties. And I think that even that if that is personal work that you need to do, it could also transition into life's work, like counseling. Once you've done your own personal work, then you can maybe work with other people as a counselor or a coach or something along that line. This energy, this trigram relates to midnight, the time period of midnight. So also maybe work that is done at night or work that you can do after everyone else has like gone to sleep. So just thinking about that, kind of the energy of midnight. This can also relate to the ears. So there is the body part of the ears is important. So again, listening. So that kind of still brings me back to coaching or counseling or working in that regard. And then water also relates to your creative depths and your intuition as well. So some way to merge some of those things. Now, you picked moving line 3, which I already mentioned. For me, when I see it, I'm like, oh, there's a struggle somewhere. I don't know if the struggle is finding your work or if there is something related to the struggle that's giving you an answer. So asking yourself, what are you willing to protect, defend, or fight for? Maybe the answer is in that. Whatever the answer to that question is, maybe there's something that you're already fighting for, protecting, defending that can, again, transition into actual life's work. Since you're already, in that essence, in that energy of doing that, how can you transition that into something that is a calling for you? The last question that I'm going to be doing is another when question. When will work slow down? And this one was Earth again, but this time with the 2 moving line. So again, it's funny to me. I mean, it's not really because I keep seeing these patterns, which is why I associate Earth with when questions, like when and how long will it take? So again, it may take a while, but again, this energy relates to autumn. So it could mean now, like in this time period before we get to the winter solstice. So it could be slowing down. And honestly, I don't know whether you want the work to slow down or not. My thought is that you do, only because the earth energy is more slower. And usually people are trying to figure out, when will this thing grow? When will this develop into something? And I will say just really quickly, when the baby comes out, because earth is, again, the mother, the womb. So the baby could be a project or something like that that is finished. So the earth is just receiving, nurturing, feeding the baby, creating that womb space and allowing it to grow and develop. And then when it's born, the birth, then the work, not in real life, slows down, but figuratively, we would say that the earth has done its work. So I would say, like, when your harvest is over, and I don't know what that looks like, I don't know what kind of work this is. It's also important to know that all earth does is receive. It doesn't initiate, which means your work will slow down when the input slows down, right? Like, I don't know who it is or what it is that's initiating. The fact that you used a two moving line, two moving lines are always about waiting and responding. So it makes me think that you are not in charge of initiating things. So you're kind of waiting for the work maybe. And so it's somebody else that's inputting it. One of the things that I see with the two moving line is that there's usually some kind of resource that's already in your environment, in your space. All you need to do is just kind of look around, and there may be something to help you. It could be a person, it could be a resource, a tool, something that can come to your aid. It's not going to be something where you have to reinvent the wheel or start anything. It's already exists. So that's what I would say. Number one, just kind of look around, see, is there something that can help you with whatever this work or the, whatever the issue is here. The other thing to know about Earth is that Earth is always trying to meet others' expectations. So perhaps the work will slow down when you stop trying to meet others' expectations. So there's usually kind of these lessons with Earth and with all of the trigrams. Maybe things will slow down when you stop receiving, like, meaning when you say no is what I'm kind of trying to get to. When you're like, nope, I'm just gonna focus on me right now. So those are just some different ways to look at Earth and that energy. Again, if we're just talking about linear time, it could be right around the corner, since again we're still in the autumn time frame. So those were just some readings that I wanted to do really quickly. And again, I'm just using one trigram. A hexagram uses two trigrams. So I'll be showing you how to make sense of a hexagram when you're putting two trigrams together, and also how to deal with different moving lines and how they may show up. So we're really going to focus on casting. I'm going to show you how I cast with playing cards, which is not really something that I see too often. And then we are also going to talk a little bit more about my cards and how to use them, even if you don't want to cast a hexagram, if you just kind of have a quick question, how you can use the cards too. So if you check below, you'll see the details for the class, and I hope to see you there.